Heyo, welcome back to Annie Recaps. Today we bring you a cute story called More Than a Married Couple But Not Lovers. Before we dive into it though, do subscribe to Annie Recaps for more amazing animes to watch from all over the world and hit that notification bell to stay up to date. Now let's get to the show. The anime opens with Shiori Sakurazaka, who visits a temple where she comes across Akari Watanabe, her classmate. Akari feels embarrassed for being seen at the temple and quickly runs away, while Shiori makes a wish before heading off. At school, Jiro Yakuin and his best friend Sadaharu Kamo chat about video games and Jiro's long-standing crush on Shiori when they spot Akari and her group passing by, who scold Jiro and Sadaharu for blocking the staircase, but surprise them with speaking kindly to her crush Minami Tenjin. The class bell rings and the students get ready for the pair announcements, while Shiori, Jiro's childhood friend, wishes good luck to him with his pairing. Jiro secretly wishes to be paired with Shiori but doesn't reveal his feelings. Shiori tells Jiro that she hopes to be paired with someone she knows well and can talk to comfortably. The homeroom teacher explains to the students that they will be paired with someone of the opposite sex and will have separate rooms for privacy. They must score well to pass the practical, which contributes to their final academic score. Jiro is paired with Akari, and Shiori is paired with Minami, which disappoints them both. Akari mocks Jiro for being a nobody virgin, and their fighting causes the score to plummet from 0 to -3. That makes Akari propose that they should cooperate to get their desired partners by reaching the A grade rank, which allows them to change partners, according to the rulebook. Jiro is hesitant to get an A rank with Akari as it would require extreme romance, but Akari convinces Jiro to cooperate with her by acting timid, which improves their score and makes Jiro embarrassed, so he leaves to buy soda. There, he sees Shiori and Minami together and becomes upset, causing him to sulk in his room. Akari mocks him at first, but later cheers him up and convinces him to aim for a good score. The next day, Sadaharu arrives to call Jiro out, and Akari insists Jiro give her a goodbye kiss, which startles Jiro, but as Sadaharu is impatiently ringing the bell, Jiro gives in and kisses Akari before rushing out. After Jiro and Akari's accidental kiss, their score is reset to 0. 1 week later, Jiro sees Shiori and Minami walking to school together, which makes him upset about his relationship with Akari. Their homeroom teacher informs Jiro that they must improve their practical performance or risk not graduating. Akari goes to karaoke with her friends, including Minami, while Jiro waits for the rain to stop. Shiori joins him and unexpectedly hugs him, claiming that she is scared of bugs. Shiori insists that Jiro call her by her first name, but Minami shows up to pick her up before he can. Jiro declines the offer to wait with Shiori and Minami, and Akari meets him with an umbrella. As they walk home, Akari encourages Jiro to keep trying. Back in their house, Akari cooks Jiro a delicious omelet, and they get close to kissing, but are interrupted by a phone call that makes Jiro leave, both feeling their hearts racing and are confused about it. The next day, Akari wakes up Jiro from a dream about almost kissing Shiori and asks him to spend the night with her as she was scared from watching a horror movie. Jiro agrees to help her and wonders why she was watching the movie if it scared her, but Akari explains that she did not earn points for their couple's score, which made Jiro turn off the TV to ease her fears, and Akari surprises Jiro by pulling out a matching pajamas for them to wear. While changing, Akari asks Jiro not to look, and he agrees. After changing into their pajamas, the thunder roars and the power goes out, which makes Akari hug Jiro to calm her fear. But soon Akari lights a candle to ease the tension, and Jiro tells her a story to distract her from her fear. Despite Jiro's scary story, Akari falls asleep and Jiro calls her cute. A week later, Jiro is surprised to find out that they jumped from E grade to a B grade, but Akari tells him that Minami and Shiori had gotten an E grade, so even though they have a high rank, they cannot change partners if the other party doesn't also have a high rank. Jiro is concerned about Shiori's low grade and wonders why she and Minami didn't get along. Later, Shiori confesses to Mei Hamano that she had trouble communicating with Minami and wishes she was paired up with a friend instead. Meanwhile, Jiro gets sick and rests at home while Akari goes out with her friends, which disappoints him. Just then, Shiori unexpectedly shows up at their door to take care of Jiro while he is unwell. At the cafe, Akari feels sad while hanging out with her friends as she can't stop thinking about Jiro. Meanwhile, Shiori tells Jiro that Akari told her to visit and take care of him, and Jiro gets grateful to Akari for telling Shiori about his illness and allowing her to take care of him. Shiori makes porridge for Jiro, but he's too eager to eat it himself and ends up regretting it later. Jiro and Shiori discuss her low grade on the marriage practical assignment, and she admits that she has trouble communicating with Minami, which led to their poor score. Jiro sympathizes with Shiori and encourages her to be honest with her feelings. Shiori admits to Jiro that she was uncomfortable with Minami and that she would have preferred Jiro as her husband, which makes both of them blush. Jiro attempts to give a grand pep talk, but he fails and retreats to his bed. After cleaning up, Shiori tries to kiss sleeping Jiro but ultimately leaves. Akari's friends warn her that letting Shiori stay with Jiro could lead to Shiori stealing him away. Shiori remembers her past conversation with Jiro before moving away during middle school, where she hoped to confess her feelings for him but ended up stumbling over her words and claiming that she only wanted to be friends. The next day, Jiro thanks Akari for sending Shiori to take care of him and promises to help Akari in her pursuit of love instead of settling for him. Akari seems hesitant about this, even though it's good news to her, but claims she doesn't like how it sounds. The next day, Akari prepares a meal for Jiro, and during the process, she asks him about Shiori's cooking skills and how she can impress a boy. Jiro makes a playful comment, teasing Akari that he didn't expect her to be the type to cook home-cooked meals. However, Akari is determined to impress Minami with her cooking skills, and she asks Jiro for help. Akari shares plans of giving Minami a lunchbox and wants Jiro to assist her in the process by being her sous chef and taste tester. Jiro feels delighted to sample the various dishes and is pleased with their high scores, which also makes them get along well during the preparation process. When Jiro tastes the rolled omelette Akari made, he suggests that they should be sweeter. However, Akari dismisses his comment, reminding him that they were not for him, but for Minami, and she insists that Jiro should eat without complaining, and he complies. The next day, Sadaharu couldn't help but marvel at the sight of Jiro's fantastic lunchbox, wondering how his partner never cooked such great meals for him. As they conversed, Jiro mentions that he lives with a total Gyaru who is always hot. To their surprise, Akari appears and she asks Jiro to praise the meal box. However, when Jiro mentions the rolled omelette, they start bickering. Meanwhile, Sadaharu feels awkward sitting beside them, feeling like he has aged 1,000 years. The next morning, Akari prepares the final meal box for Minami and asks Jiro to taste the rolled omelette. Jiro finds that the omelette still isn't sweet and feels hurt that his partner was making a meal for some random guy she likes. As Akari dresses up in one of her prettiest outfits, Jiro couldn't help but notice that she had never done so for him. Akari gets nervous and asks Jiro to kiss her goodbye like the last time, to calm her nerves, which initially shocked him. However, before he could give in to her request, the doorbell rings, and Shiori appears with a box of apple pies to share with the couple. Shiori mentions that she often cooks delicious meals for Minami, and that the latter had a sweet tooth, which prompted her to make the pie. Akari is immediately disheartened and decides against giving her lunchbox to Minami, and Jiro tries to cheer her up by enjoying the meal she had prepared for Minami and encouraging her to try out other things to impress him. As Akari expresses her insecurity, Jiro tries to boost her morale by complimenting her figure and claiming that she was every guy's dream woman. Jiro stops Akari from doing what she will regret later on, causing Akari to put an end to their pretense of being a married couple. The two of them spend time apart, with Akari hanging out with friends and Jiro playing video games. However, that makes their scores for the second week very poor, with Minami and Shiori getting an A grade while Akari and Jiro receiving an E grade. Sadaharu and Shiori try to console Jiro and encourage him. That makes Jiro realize his mistake. He then apologizes to Akari for what happened and admits that he did fantasize about being with her, but stopped because he didn't want to regret it later. Akari laughs at Jiro's innocence and agrees to work with him as a team to improve their grades. That night, Akari thinks back to the conversation they had and realizes that she might like Jiro. During the sports period, Akari and her friends discuss their ranks and partners, while Jiro watches as both Akari and Shiori get impressed by Minami's basketball skills. Sadaharu added to Jiro's jealousy by telling him that Minami had declared that he would never switch his partner. Jiro imagines a scenario where Minami ends up with both Akari and Shiori, while Jiro gets left alone. After school, Shiori tries to tell Jiro that she would only switch partners if Jiro also had an A rank. Akari gets punished for talking during the game and gets asked to keep the mats in the storage room. When a box of sports items falls on her, Minami rushes to save her, and Akari realizes that he still makes her heart pound. She asks Minami if he plans to stay with Shiori forever, and he confirms that he would. Akari is hurt, and since Minami had seen her crying, she lies to him that she had something in her eye. Sadaharu misunderstands the situation and tries to narrate it to Jiro, but gets interrupted by Minami, who hands him the sports area key. As the five of them meet in the corridor, the situation becomes tense, with Shiori waiting for Minami. Minami then leads Shiori back to class, and Akari walks past Jiro without saying a word. In class, Sadaharu narrates the incident between Akari and Minami in the storage room, and Jiro acts as though the situation doesn't bother him, although he is heartbroken. The misunderstanding caused a rift between Akari and Jiro, and the situation remains unresolved as Jiro congratulates Akari for kissing Minami, but she clarifies the situation and starts crying about Minami's decision to stick with Shiori, which makes Jiro hug Akari to calm her down while she sobs. Later, Akari starts addressing Jiro by his first name and even wears his t-shirt after showering, and reveals that he was the first person she had kissed and that she is also a virgin. Jiro is shocked by this revelation and freezes despite his happiness. The next day, Jiro has class duties in the morning, so he leaves for school earlier than usual. As he's getting ready to go, Akari comes out to wish him well and straightens his crooked tie before hugging him goodbye. Jiro couldn't help but think about how nice it would be if Akari did these things willingly instead of just as part of their practical arrangement. When Jiro arrives in class, he sees that Shiori is already there. She tells him that she was filling in for Mei and she would be partnering with Akari for the task. In a flashback, it's revealed that Shiori had confessed her feelings for Jiro to Mei, who had offered to exchange duties. Jiro gets disappointed that he wouldn't be working with Shiori, but at least he was excited to be paired up with her for something. Meanwhile, Akari is teased by her friends in the cafeteria for being in love with Jiro. In class, Jiro struggles to hold a conversation with Shiori, who also fails to confess her feelings to him. Later, Jiro is on his balcony when Akari joins him with 2 cups of hot milk. Jiro reflects on his past and regrets not confessing his feelings to Shiori when they were younger. Akari teases Jiro about spending time with Shiori, noticing how happy he seemed in class with her. Akari also asks Jiro to call her by her first name, but he refuses, as only those who are close to each other can say it. The next day, as the teacher tells students about the special test, Jiro realizes that Akari is not interested in academics, as she tells him that she plans to go to a karaoke bar with her friends instead of studying. Jiro persuades Akari to come home and study with him, which takes some convincing. Jiro wants them to succeed together, but Akari thinks that Jiro wants to study to score well and switch partners. While studying, Akari starts flirting with Jiro, but he tries to stay focused on their studies. However, Akari's enthusiasm for learning is contagious, and she starts calling Jiro sensei. She even teases Jiro, asking if it makes his heart race, which makes Jiro a bit awkward about it, but he does not mind the title. They are about to kiss when Akari notices that Jiro is having a nosebleed. After the interrupted study session, Jiro confesses to Akari that he was so insistent on them scoring well on the test because he did not want to hold her back from being paired up with Minami. Jiro also admits that Akari is the one always scoring points for them, so he wanted to do something for Akari, and also he did not want Akari's grade to suffer because of him. While getting ready for school, Jiro notices that Akari is calling him by his last name, even though she is acting normal as she usually does, but it confuses him. At school, as Jiro is trying to find out the reason for that, Kamo interrupts him, asking if he scored a girlfriend, but Jiro refuses and explains to Kamo his situation and asks him does he ever get in a fight with his wife, which leads to Kamo being stupid, and Jiro has to be the one to give him a piece of advice. While they are talking, they hear a girl confessing her feelings to Mei, but she politely refuses the girl and even hugs her and soothes her. Later, as Jiro thinks about Akari, the incident with Mei makes him realize his mistake as he recalls that Akari also wanted him to call her by her first name. When Akari gets home, she shares the midterm results with Jiro, and both of them get happy as they scored pretty well. After that, Jiro takes a shower and Akari dries his hair. Jiro decides to test his hypothesis and calls Akari by her first name, which embarrasses her, and Jiro takes advantage of this to tease her. The next day at school, when Mei and Shiori chat in the courtyard about their love lives, a soccer ball suddenly hits Shiori, knocking her out. Mei rushes her friend to the nurse's office, and as Shiori recovers, Mei goes to inform Jiro of the accident and suggests that Jiro should go to see Shiori and even gives him some sandwiches and water to take with him. Jiro reluctantly takes Mei's advice and goes to see Shiori, who then asks him to help her practice kissing since she had never kissed Minami. Jiro agrees, but just as he is about to kiss her, Shiori suddenly pulls away. Meanwhile, one of Akari's friends enters the nurse's office and sees 2 people on the bed. Not recognizing who they are, she jumps to the conclusion that something unholy is happening and informs Akari about it. At this moment, Akari receives a text from Jiro claiming that he was in the nurse's office, which disappoints her as she learns that it was Jiro and Shiori. Feeling jealous and hurt, Akari goes to a coffee shop and returns home late, dreading the idea of facing the new Jiro. As Akari enters the house, she finds Jiro passed on the couch, having eaten some chocolate with whiskey in it. Feeling a mix of emotions, she lays down beside him and asks him about his feelings for Shiori, eventually falling asleep in his arms. Jiro wakes up confused and hungover, having indulged in the spiked chocolate. he noticed Akari beside him and woke her up, but she decided to play a prank on him and pretended that they had slept together. Jiro gets horrified at the thought and tries to deny it, but Akari eventually reveals that it was all a joke, making Jiro flustered. And that's it for today. This anime does take romance to another level. How do you think the story is going to proceed? Who will confess their feelings first, Akari or Shiori? Or will Shiori even be able to accept one of them? Let us know in the comments and we'll find out in the next episodes. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Make sure to like and subscribe to Annie Recap for more amazing content like this. Peace.